to be a bomber class. So the ones I was interested in are the specialist and the scroll savant. Sounded interesting to me. So let's look at basic wizard. What does basic wizard do? Presumably spell progression, bonus feats, specialist school. Specialize in one school, gaining additional powers on that school. Each arcane school gives a wizard school powers. A lot of knowledge that requires other knowledge to understand. I love how like what it shows me here. Arcane bond and wizard bonus feat tells me nothing about this. I'm gonna get almost no information here in my chat. If I do this one, all I've lost is that one. What is this one? Cantrips. I lose access to cantrips. Let's see what the description says. Well, the concept of wizard specializations along the classically recognized schools of magic dates back blah 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 blah, focusing their research on the discovery that each school of magic was opposed by two specific opposition schools. Or rune lords developed tryhards developed methods of further enhancing their mastery over the chosen arcane specialties. Define these 7 schools as much by what they couldn't do as what they could. Okay, so it tells me nearly fucking nothing there. We're gonna be bad at 2 schools and gain 1 school specialization. Oh yeah? If I go to the next page. It's so hard to tell if I get anything from this. Receive 2 additional spell slots of each spell level he can cast. The bonus spell slots must be used to prepare the same spell from the wizard's school of specialization, allowing the wizard to cast the spell twice. You cannot use these slots per turn. Okay. So it's a wizard with a depleted spell list, or a restricted spell list, but extra spells in that specialty, right? Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I don't hate that idea, although it's a little bit difficult to see from this. All right, and what does the scroll savant do? Scroll savant adds half his class level as a bonus on use magical device check. You always take 10 on use magic device checks to cast a spell from a scroll. If 10 on a roll is enough for a successful I don't know what the fuck that means. So I fail using scrolls less, correct? This sounds not good. All right. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of scroll dude. Scroll dude sounded fucking boring. And we'll take another. I'm gonna take a 5 of 7 on this other wizard. All right. So then let's do sorcerer next. Basic sorcerer. All right, maybe we have to do this thing where I go to the next and like where I see these. Okay, so these are the bloodlines. We're gonna have to read these bloodlines to choose sorcerer because presumably that's a big portion of it. Maybe we can do that with the wizard. Let's go take a look at this. What if I go to next here? Can we read what the arcane bond, then the specialist school? The bonds weren't restricted, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Look at the specialists. Focus on suppressing magic other than their own. Prohibited schools, evocation, and necromancy. Can I see spell lists anywhere? Still is not useful without a spell list. Tells me they're opposites, but like these spell lists don't exist like this in 5e. There's no fucking well, that's not true. Some of these exist. Actually, a lot of these exist. I was reading Wrath and Sloth. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything, but these do. Where do we see spell list, chat? Random want to go to spell list? Obviously, would be a cat familiar. I love cats and dogs. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, Bliss. I don't know which classes are mad. Which classes are mad? I don't see full spell list and character curation, only first level. Alright, so I have almost no information about that. I would have to be relying on chat a lot. And I might be able to do that with descriptions. It is possible to get there. But it's still one of the more interesting starting classes so far. I guess I should read through what some of the fucking bonds do. Familiar is a magical pet that enhances character skills and senses. A cast master gains +3 on stealth checks and perception rolls. Just stats. That's okay. So just stats. I don't give a shit. Okay. Take a look at the sorcerer. All right. Our options are Arcane Caster with Nature, Arcane Caster with Heavenly Power, the Sage Sorcerer. Which of these did I write down? I didn't write down which ones I wanted. I want to read the Bloodlines, so let's read the Bloodlines. Okay. All right, I'm going to try to do this without reading out loud with the text. I don't want to do this. So what does it do? Bonus feats. Augment Summoning, Bull Rush, Cleave, and Power Spell. Oh, but I don't know what any of these do. So it gives me a list of like 9 things it does, but I don't know what they do. Be very hard. Click it. So I can get a strength-based melee attack as a wizard. I believe that's what every wizard does. Resist electricity. Claws are bad as a sorcerer? What? I don't believe you. Learn rage. Can we not cast spells when we're raging? This is a rage sorcerer. Scared chat by the number of options here. I mean, like legit, to mouse over these things, it's going to be a half hour to mouse over every single one of these icons going down through here. And that's without any linked knowledge. It's even changed? But that's the same on all of them. Why is it even listed? What does this do? Third level. In stuff that doesn't matter. Make melee attach. Creature. Fear, false life, empiric touch, grasp of the dead. Additional class skills from the undead bloodline. Serpentine. Eternal bloodline. Alright, so there's a fuck ton of customization here. Customization is really good when you know what the hell you're dealing with. You can actually make sense between your options. Alright, so let's read the actual stuff here. I don't like summons. I might like summons. I generally don't like summoners because summoners tend to be boring. If the class was fun and used summons, I could imagine it'd be fine. I don't hate the summon. I hate the summoner. I don't think I would take a sub-spec of Sorcerer without some more knowledge about what the hell they do. It would probably just be basic Sorcerer. Just okay. We're getting there, something. Kind of narrowing it down from the ones I'm interested in to give chat less options so that I can get more specific information. Sylvan is the best. Imagine there being a best on character creation and how boring that would be. Alright, I'll write Sorcerer as a 5 of 7, but -1 for best. Yeah. Alright, let's look at the Monk next. What? The Monk. Alright. This is the Monk. What does the Monk do? The Monk has Stunning Fist. D10 plus 1/2 your character level and wisdom modifier. Bet you on higher difficulties you never fucking land this. Defender fails his saving throw is stunned for 1 round. It is only a 1-round stun. I can only attempt to stun once per day for every 4 levels I've obtained. Seems very bad, chat. Stunning Fist was like one of the more powerful monk abilities in 5e. Bonus feats, evasion, points. Okay. I thought the other ones already gave us magic. Why is this a whole separate line? Like it's written in there. At level 3, unarmed attacks to be treated as magic weapons. At level 7, they count as iron and silver. At level 10, they count as the most boring of all damages. And at level 14, the best damage. Why do I have a separate line about it? I mean, that's already included in the one above it. One type of special strike. Makes a flurries of blows. He can designate one of his unarmed strikes. Strike style. Attack is... Oh, what the fuck? Yeah. Alright, what does the monk stuff do? How angry am I going to be at a tank chat that does no damage? Very angry? We give up monk bonus feats? No, we don't want to give up monk bonus feats. Give up monk bonus feat class. Be pretty angry. This gives up monk bonus feat. I thought bonus feats were like, I got them every, like, this is only every 4 levels, but still. Different bonus feat. It doesn't have a bonus feat stuff in there. Unless it's this shit. This may be helpful for someone who knows what the fuck is going on. It's not helpful for me at all. Alright, show me what the traditional monk does, champ. Down here. Because these are new, right? All of these icons are new compared to the other one. You but gain passive buffs. What is spell resistance? So with this character, then I would never have any decisions to make throughout the duration of this character, except for these feats, I guess. And stats is. What do I get in return? I just get +2 will save, +1 reflex save. No, just +2 will save. Worse than the basic monk. It's clearly supposed to be a trade-off. What do you mean when you say regular feat progression? Basic attack. How do I see this basic attack bonus progression shit? Where do I actually see that? Right click on what? Level? I have no idea what you're saying. Sorry. Maybe start from the beginning, Joas, because I've missed some critical element of what you're describing here. Parent class. Right clicking. Oh, I see here. So all monks get base attack bonus 1 then, or is this just the traditional monk? Down. Oh shit, it tells me what I get at each level for monks. Chat, be honest here. Those of you who have played this game, how much more fun is character creation than actually playing it? You can give it to me as a ratio. Twice as much fun? 10 times as much fun? 1 to 1? That's pretty promising if it's only 1 to 1. Character creation sounds like it'd be a lot of fun if you knew what the fuck you were doing. 2.5 to 1? About the same? Wow. Okay. Alright, well, unfortunately, the monk sounded really cool in theory, but when I look at this stuff, it doesn't actually sound very fun at all. Get stuff, get evasions, and monk feats. Depends how interesting the monk feats are, I guess. Celesta went down a lot, in my opinion, after the update. DLC, the dungeon crawling mode. The monk feats. I'm not sure how to do that. Next. Bad. There's a lot of them, so probably some of them aren't bad. Does the red down mean? Oh, it's unavailable. No. I don't know what the red thumbs down means. Not recommended. I see. So they don't recommend that we get combat casting on our monk. No sense. I don't get it. We're especially resistant to magic. Nice tooltip there. Tells you actually quite a lot. Dude, I don't like the idea of a monk. I'm just having a hard time actually imagining what they fucking do here. Generally either tank or DPS. Yeah. With that mentality in mind, what other roles do you acknowledge besides tanking? Crowd control and off tank. Ugh. Yeah, what other roles? Yep. They don't pass the sweet gear test. Yeah, but I'm a little tempted by it. Because I really like evasion tanks, and this is why you guys directed me towards monk in the first place, was evasion tank, right? Alright, do we need to narrow it down a little bit, what I'm considering right now? Maybe. Move this up over here. Update this. I don't know what type of monk that is yet. Alright. That's kind of where I'm at, what I'm considering at the moment. Rogues are better evasion. Fighters are evasion tanks. Armored Hulks are evasion tanks. I know, those are the ones I started with, right? Those are the classes that were interesting to me that I went through and looked at. Is a feat. No, evasion is the fact of not getting hit. In games, you have two real ways to tank. They often are used in combination, but the basic thing goes, you can have HP and HP related stats, damage mitigation. So you may be getting hit, but you get hit less hard because of resistances or mitigations, or you have a fuck ton of HP, this type of thing, right? Then you have evasion tanking, where your goal is to be not hit, like parry, dodge, high AC rolls, that kind of thing, right? So I am looking for a tank that doesn't get hit very often this game. HP and damage reduction tank does not exist in Pathfinder. Damage reduction is a stat in this game. And presumably things like rage. I don't know if rage in this game also gives you like a damage reduction like it does in 5e, but like, for example, a barbarian would be an HP tank in 5e. They're essentially, they don't have super high AC, they get hit a lot, but the damage is reduced in half by their resists, and more so with other features like that. So you guys saying it doesn't exist doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know it exists. Maybe it doesn't exist in Pathfinder, I guess. Something big can hit you for 150. Okay, so I mean, it doesn't really matter even then, because the same complaint or the same goal is still here, right? Which is I'm looking for an evasion based tank. My point was evasion tanking in the sense of trying to build an evasion tank is a distinction that matters, because you can build tanks in more than one way. You guys are saying non-evasion tanks in this game don't work very well. Well, that's good for us, I guess, in a sense, because I want to build an evasion tank. It'd be bad for me if I wanted to build an HP based tank. Every tank is an evasion tank in that respect. It isn't. I just literally outlined the difference between an evasion tank and a non. If you're getting hit but reducing the impact of those hits, that's not evasion based. Oh, do you want tank DPS area control as your main character? Cannot reduce the impact in Pathfinder. We know we can reduce the impact in Pathfinder. I can read the fucking abilities that talks about damage resistance. So you clearly do have a way to do it. You might be arguing, which I think you are arguing, but you're still missing the point if this is your argument. Your argument is you can't do that well in this game. That's fine. I agree with that assessment so far. And I've said multiple times now that I'm glad that what I wish to do is the one that works, because that's the type of style that's more interesting to me. But there are mechanics for reducing damage in this game. Do I care if the NPC already fulfills the evasion tank role? I do a little bit. I do. Am I going to get totally counterfeited by wanting to run a tank? Yep, we're agreeing that evasion tank is a good choice, but I do not think it negates the point of making a distinction between an evasion tank and a non-evasion. I want to play on unfair difficulty. I was looking to start on the second highest, but I could start on the highest. I don't really care. Depends if it makes it more fun or less fun. I like a high level of difficulty in my games, but sometimes when games go to very high difficulty levels, they kind of strip away a lot of the things that make the game fun. I don't necessarily need to force that. The only time I need to force that is if the game gets tedious and boring without that. Don't start on highest. It's very unlikely I play more than once. Frontline melee character is great for main. Yeah, I also like that too. Cheese the game to win in that difficulty. Yeah, that's subjective, right? If you're cheesing the game or just playing the mechanics, that makes sense there. Fun, but not for streams. Want to build a tank if you want? Yeah, I know I can. But the point of today's stream is just literally to get a little bit of character building going, talk about what the options entail, see if I like the first couple combats, see what the pacing of the game is. So sure, I should build what I want to build is generally good advice, but I want to build something fun, and part of what's fun for me in games is making it work. Don't go unfair, it's really fucking tough and min-max. I like min-max. Have to reload some battles? Sure. Start on the highest, I might not ever get through the prologue. Around normal or normal +1, I can do that. Go to challenger. Okay, I guess chat. Maybe I'll ask for advice about difficulty in a minute. Let's do the characters, then we can worry about the difficulty. What would you decide you'll get an invasion tank from NPC? What role do you want your main to fulfill? I mean, that's a good question. So I actually dislike this. Baldur's Gate 3 does this the same way that this game apparently does this, which I don't like. I don't like pre-made NPC characters showing up because it immediately, for a percentage of the players who play the game, counterfeits the character design that they had in mind when they started the game. And there's no pre-knowledge of it. You guys are essentially protecting me from that a little bit by offering me pre-knowledge of the type of shit I'm going to get right off the bat. But it's really annoying, and I don't know how many games I've done this in where like I build a character I'm interested in. The first character I run into is a variation of that. That can be very frustrating. Okay, so there's another complication here. Apparently, the main player character gets more stats than other characters in this game you get. So, in fact, you're gonna, if you get min-maxing that, there are gonna be some classes that benefit a lot more from additional stat points, right? Which classes benefit the most from additional stat points? I could tell you in 5e, but I have a harder time with that in a system I'm not as familiar with. Yes, I understand it will be multi-attribute builds. That definitionally, the classes that benefit more from getting more stat points are the ones who can use more stat points. I'm asking which ones those are. Monk is very mad. Any frontliners? All right, let me just take a look again at this. I worry sometimes that by offering the option that I just make this harder to finish. Tower. So you guys are telling me I'm going to encounter a tower shield user if I want it. I actually felt like the Knife Master Rogue was very solid, but it looked kind of boring. And I don't know if I have enough information to make decisions about wizards right now. I just need to know the spell list before I can get any sense of how to specialize a sorcerer, right? And the caster builds that were interesting to me were the focused caster builds, right? The caster builds that took a smaller sampling of spells for more powerful effects from those. That mechanic is an interesting mechanic to me, but requires knowledge of an existing knowledge of the spells, which I don't have. So presumably I will pick up casters of various disciplines as I play through the game. So maybe I don't bother with that right now. We can learn the spells on the fly. That's essentially a memory, that essentially knowledge of the existing spells and then seeing that actual effectiveness in combat. So if we need a multiple stat dependent character as our primary character, doesn't get immediately counterfeited, are we just at monk on this list? We're looking at fighter, rogue, wizard, sorcerer, monk. Does that make sense to just end up monk here? Monk and Paladin, Pally Monk. Monk's one of the best multi-classes. I don't know how to... I mean, we could try a multi-class build. I think it's probably above my pay grade right now. I was planning on playing turn-based, although I don't know that I necessarily want that. I just generally prefer it. Okay. All right. So I haven't heard any major opposition to that plan. That might just get us a starting point. Astrophysics is less complicated than multipathing. And play any difficulty higher than hard. Alright, so let's say we wanted to build a monk. I do hate punching things. Mostly because it always feels like a much cooler thing to hit them with a fucking enchanted weapon. What types of decisions do we need to make with the monk then? Presumably we need to make a race decision at some point. We need to look at a subclass decision. So I've heard that this is the worst class in the game, then I had someone say this is the most exciting class in the game. Generally what chat says. What does this fucking subclass do? Pink monk mixed with bard. Mixed with bard. So he has an aura that costs me an action. That's his bard element. Don't worry about the race. We haven't picked the race yet. So, I enjoyed the plus save throws for here. Am I supposed to be looking at? Or character? Alright, Scaled Fist is a damage dealing monk. So if I want a tanky monk. I guess the question is, do tanks work in this game? Kind of don't work in a lot of D&D stuff. So being a tanky damage dealer often makes some sense, although they're often directly in opposition to one another. Being a pure tank only has utility if controlling area matters, and they will respect your control areas with things like Kevin's character in D&D 5, the 5e we played on the stream, which was like things like I think it was Sentinel, the one that fucking stuns him in place kind of deal. Do I hate bards as well? No, I just hate druids. I hate nature bards. Asian tank. No. Don't really know this class. This is a class that doesn't exist in a game that I've played before. Using rip. Did I miss something about this class that I need to chat? Like, do I need to go back and reevaluate this class? Sword Saint is the highest AC class. A lot of text on that I don't understand. Doesn't use shields. Can monkey use shields? Everyone agrees. Say nanny defense. Is this essentially a blade singer, this class? This reads almost exactly like a blade singer, a 5e blade. I like gift characters in theory. Oftentimes I find they don't do as much scaling as I'd like them. Nice fucking save throws again. If I were to compare this to a monk, what am I actually comparing? Give me pros cons of monk tank versus magus tank here. Frontline depends if I want to micromanage buffs or not. How are buffs micromanaged in this game? Because one of the things I'm really concerned about in this game is the fact that it was based on a real-time system where the AI does things like you set up AI to cache shit for you kind of deal. So you don't have to do a lot of the maintenance work behind buffing. And I'm probably playing it as turn-based. I think it's better at CC and requires less micro. Most popular mod for this game is a buff man. "45 seconds to pre-prep every fight." You guys know, I looked at this class and didn't read as anything in Diablos. The problem is that I don't have anything to compare this to, right? This is a new thing. We looked at this class. It read as a rogue with bombs. So what is the benefit here? You're like dex based with mutagens is why it's a good tank class? Doesn't have bombs. It has throw everything. Yeah. Converted. That are stacking with everything are rare. So basically it gets to buff it gets another buff category which stacks with existing buff categories but is unique to that class, is what you're saying? Yeah, it makes sense. Everything else about the Alchemist sounded boring to me though. I much prefer the monk kits. Really? I guess I could look at what feats. So monk bonus feats. Style that was directly mentioned. Only take a -2 penalty on attack rolls for fighting defensively. Using this style and fighting defensively, you gain an additional +1 dodge bonus to your armor class. I don't know what that means. So I can take attacks at a minus to hit to get base defense. Impressive. These all seem great. That blind fight. All right, chat. I think I'm going to make an executive decision here and play Monk. I don't know how the buffing is going to work. I mean, the problem with almost all of this is that it almost doesn't matter how long we pour into this. We're probably going to have to play a little bit before we get any sense of how the game actually feels, right? So I think I wanted to do, and I think we've done this, right? I did some winnowing down of the kind of rough archetype, for lack of a better word, of what I want to play. But when we get into the kind of details of that, that's probably gonna require some iteration. Not only am I still making a character, my intent with this stream was only character creation. Just in case. All right. With the mentality of what we're already talking about, what I want to do with this is essentially a tank character. Damage or control is fine. We got to do something with it. Clearly, it needs to be useful as a tank character. But with that in mind, which of the sub monks do I want to run here? Traditional, or scaled fist, or regular? I'll be rerun a roll party anyways. Okay. How long does the first act take me? Scaled fist is charisma bonuses. Huh. All right, let's just say basic monk. What does load pre-made do? I can still assign, right? Like, this is just in case I want like advice. I can't assign. No, I don't want that then. All right. All right, just hold on. We have to go back here because it just fucked with my difficulty. Let's go check that we have what I want here. I want respec on. I don't know if I want kingdom management normal or auto yet because I don't know what it does. And we wanted to play on hard with a custom for respecs somewhere. There. Don't like hard. I've been told that it's I've been told I should start easier in this, but we're gonna start there. I have fun. Okay. What does our monk look like? Yes, this is what I imagine all druids look like. That's definitely a monk portrait. I can change all the settings after I start? Okay. Okay. What race do we want to play as, chat? What races are synergetic with monks? Now, first thought, dwarf. Takes the mobility, gets rid of it right away. Makes it more simple to play. Get a bunch of weapon bonuses that we can't use. And if we do get heavy armor on our monk, we can move with less penalties. Seems pretty solid, I'd say. And 10 of 10. 10 of 10. All right. We can get an extra feat. Chat tells me feats are the greatest things in sliced bread. And at creation, the character gets +2 bonus to. Are they all? different on? I assume they'd all get the same amount of stats. Oh, it's doing it. I see. Not automatic here. Can I bring points below 10 or do they just 10? So what would be important on a tank then? Going to be dex on, presumably the monks are somewhat wisdom based. Those are the three we're going to have to deal with. We probably can't go too far wrong in looking for a dex wisdom dex con class. Which there aren't any. Without arm, I know, chat. Rolling about the door. Why would I want this? So I can generate light on my face. I can do things I don't know, and I get acid resistance. Feels like it'd be nice to just not stand in acid. Where do I see sub races, chat? I didn't know there were sub races. That's in the next step. Ah, there's like a fuck ton of subset. I see. There's 7 sub races here. Holy fuck. All right. Is that true of all of them? Do they all have 7 sub specs? Why did they just skip? Like no orc subclass? Okay. All right. So we decided to do a monk. What race do we want for this? I didn't like human for some reason. I guess it really depends on the feats. I feel like a human monk would be good. Oh, you think we're playing this game? No, I haven't decided if I'm playing the game yet. Not joking. Haven't decided if I'm playing the game yet. I'm playing character creation right now. That's been pretty good about pushing me to play the game by suggesting that the character creation is as fun as the game itself. But I haven't decided yet if I'm playing. I'm not joking. I know some of you think I'm playing this up. I'm not even remotely. I considered not even streaming today. Just doing this on my own, but figured it would take longer doing it on my own rather than doing it with chat. Alright. So, alright. Real talk. Which races reliably could be a decent monk? Human, halfling, Azamar? Alright. Okay. What do I get from halfling? I get slow movement, which seems not great for a melee-based character. Racial checks to athletics and mobility. I don't know what mobility is, but that sounds positive. Keen senses seems nice. Perception seems great, and seems particularly great to have your tank not be surprised. Plus the saving throws really kind of gets to that the mechanic that I find enjoyable about tanks, the ability to shrug off pretty much anything that someone's putting towards you. And plus ratio bonus on saving throws against fear. I mean, that sounds like a decent set here. Special feat and bonus for small size together is plus 3 AC. So again, it seems a lot of nice things about. So what's the downside of being a halfling? The move speed? Also, do I have, does this game use dark vision? Low strength. Strength important on a monk? Aren't I dex based in everything I fucking do? Do I give a shit about? Okay, I do strength-based damage even though I'm using dex fists. Even though my fists are both light and full of finesse. Strength doesn't matter, but the size of my fist. Alright. That's okay, so halfling I think sounds pretty promising from this. Alright. Let's take a look at the gnome. You hate. Intensive training giant sounds great. I don't think I want halfling, right? Take a look at the other ones. Azamar had 1 million subvariants. Is human? The human gives me... Okay. What were the halfling stats? Halfling gave me dex, charisma. Charisma presumably is actually a dump stat for us right now. We're not building this monk. I mean, I guess if we want that sensei variant, I care about charisma. And then in Azamar. So talk to me, chat, about the traits that I'm choosing. Great for saving roll. I want to see class skills. So don't I start with some? Where do I go to that? I want to see the feats I start with. So what are the extra feats I'm choosing between if I'm taking human is what I'm asking. Where do I see those? Do I have to be human for that? I hate that the poster doesn't. I think I am human right now. Yeah, I get that human's the extra feat, but I don't see where I'm seeing the feats. I thought it was here. I thought it was next after class. Extra general feature, but I don't know what the general feats are. Where do I choose that? After skills during ability. This is what. Don't worry about these stats, chat. I know. 11 charisma is great. So these are the feats I'm choosing between. So there is feat, monk bonus feat. These are the monk specific ones. This is like my generic, and the other one is my generic for being human. Is that correct? Alertness seems sweet. And level. Get +2 bonus on perception skill checks. If you have 10 or more ranks in that skill, the bonus increases to 4. Explain that, chat. I don't get that. So I have a skill. The skill has bonuses based on my stats, presumably my race or something, or background or something. This gives me even more to that. How can I have 10 or more ranks though? Oh, okay. All right. If I wear light armor as a monk, don't I lose all my other things? Like running and dodging and shit. This was also a monk ability. Actually seems okay. I don't know what a maneuver versus a combat defense is. These basic feats seem kind of bad. Exhaustion. Especially as like a monk where half these don't do anything, right? Is very good. They seem very bad though. So we're gonna have to reconcile those two things. Saving. So I can get more saving throws, which I like. The check seems great. Strength to persuasion skill. Are a lot, so maybe we just started with shit. Skill saving, lightning, and reflex. So all of my saving throws can be boosted by 2 here. And power attack. Pummeling style. Whenever you use a full attack or flurries of blows to make multiple attacks, total damage from all hits. Total the damage from all hits before applying damage. So damage reduction counts only once per turn as opposed to per attack. Is that what that's saying? A very specific bonus, I guess. What was that? That was pummeling. Shake it off. Efficiency. If I wear a shield as a monk, do I lose all my benefits? I remember if that was one of the restrictions. I think it might have been. Adept at that skill. So this is expertise in a single skill. Throw anything. Toughness. Alright, what was this one you guys are all big on? You're all big on dodge. I don't know where dodge is. Must have already read it. There. Yeah, I see you telling me which ones to pick, but I wanted to read through them and get a sense of how strong it is. No unavailable is... I'll click this. Why is it? I assume these are alphabetical. Where is it? Oh, because I don't have enough decks. I didn't assign enough. I see. So I'm currently looking at a restricted list. I didn't assign the skill points yet. Okay. I see. Okay. So there's a lot of options in feats. They could be good. Helpful. It's not narrowing it down for us, so fortunately. I was hoping to go through and be like, oh, this one really rules it out. But that's good. I mean, again, more options are better for when you're more into the at a start, right? All right, and the final race we were considering was the ad. Oh, we should go look at what they 10 wisdom charisma scam, strength charisma scam, int scam, constitution charisma, constitution wisdom. What do we do if we do this? Also, persuasion and perception. Old person spell once per round. Dex and charisma. I don't know what a mobility check is yet. One of you might have told me, but I immediately forgot it. This one is Dex and wisdom. Racial bonus on mobility and athletics and can use invisibility. That all sounds very good. So if we wanted this, we could get a Dex wisdom buff. Okay. So Azamar, whatever the fuck they are, is wisdom Dex 2 each. Human was, I can't remember what the human stat bonuses were. 2 to 1 plus a feat. Thank you, Subting. They're angelically based. We're choosing on stats right now, right? I mean, there's lore for all of these, right? Some wisdom and the best stats for an AC monk. Sure. All right. Presumably feats will be more useful when I have more knowledge. I'm happy to go with this. This seems fine. Those seem like things like no actual knowledge of the game that I might like. Okay. So presumably this is what angels look like. So that should be good. Playing a regular monk. Okay. Using this one for heritage. Yeah, exactly. Ate him. All right. Next. Stats. Not a good picture to use. Why? Tell me why I can't use this picture. It's used in the game already? Wait. I get my portrait duplicated? Oh no. All right, chat. Which portraits can I use? All right, we'll use the generic monk photo we saw earlier. Can't remember who that was. Like every monk I ever done. Anything else I'm not allowed to use? Certain names, certain letters. Hey, flag in the display. All right, here we are. Aryan monk over here. Well, I guess it's not technically Aryan without blue eyes. Or again, the blonde hair is throwing me off here. I don't like this at all. What's next? Here. Here. Heritage done. All right. So now we have stat point allocation. Make the character female? I don't know. I don't know what gender our monk would be. I'm pretty sure monks have to give up gender. I assume. Especially angelic monks. I believe they don't have testicles at all. No sex organs whatsoever, if I remember correctly. Charisma is a dump stat, sure. I would dump strength too. Because I assume strength is a dump stat on a monk. And I would dump intelligence because I can go down to 7 on these. Unique. No, I think it just literally doesn't have sex organs. 14 con minimum. I feel like going to 13 just to be spiteful. But I won't. Alright, we have 20 ability points. So they scale all the way up normally. I see. So there's some downside. I mean, depends. Alright, what are my I guess I want to know about I guess I can probably hover and find this out now, huh? Combat maneuver bonus. Every character has a combat maneuver bonus, or CMB. Represents their skill in performing combat maneuvers. Thank you for that. A character's combat movement bonus is determined using the following formula. Base attack bonus plus strength modifier plus size modifier. Defense. What is a combat maneuver? Size modifier of a creature's combat maneuver bonus is as follows. Attacks that don't deal damage are combat maneuver. Defense. Combat maneuver defense. Resist combat maneuver. Sure. Initiative, hit points, ranged attacks, melee attack. Means I have 1 melee attack at -1 right now. Okay. Armor class AC. Alright. Tell me what it's based on. Does 10 plus armor bonus plus shield bonus plus dex modifier. Remember all those saving throws I had though, chat? Like the problem with like a purely physical tanky monk, that the second that you hit with somebody that's not physical, you're fucked. So what else do I need here? So presumably I want dex max. I don't know what I can max at. I can bring it all the way to 20 at start. Jesus Christ. My AC stat also raised my saves. That's fine. Oh, wisdom's at 20 already too. Did I get start that high? Does it cost me more as it goes up more, or they still give me 1 points back? Oh, it gave me 4 points back. That only gives me 3. So where am I getting these extra points from, chat? Because this looks like, it looks like I can go 18, 18, 18 on this. Mad mean? It means when you're very upset. Monk's always mad. Look at that face. What do you guys think? Not quite as much con? I guess I should read what the stats do. Strength. Character's physical power. Important for hand-to-hand, such as fighters, monks, and paladins. Wait, we have this at 7. Character strength falls to 0. They become too weak to move and fall unconscious. Word. Dex. Dexterity measures agility, reflexes, and balance. Important for rogues. Also useful for characters who don't wear armor. Alright, chat. So, I guess I could read more things about this class. I thought I had something called like Weapon Finesse, or a different one. Monk adds his wisdom bonus, if any, to his AC and CMT. In addition, Monk gains +1 bonus to AC. Okay, so that was that one. One does Monk bonus feat stuff. Stunning Fist was a scam. Evasion is character can avoid even magical and unused attacks with great ability. Successful reflex saving throw. Cool was my spellcasting special shit. My stat resource. Class resource even. And then this was of interest. Alright, I don't see it. Maybe I am fucking strength based. Am I seriously strength based for damage while being dex based for defensive abilities? Isn't that terrible? I wouldn't just use both them for the same. Why I'm mad. There's a difference between being mad and requiring every stat. Them's the breaks. Wait, you're telling me in a game that has, what was it, 15 classes, 4 subclasses for that, and the ability to multi-class with like 50 starting feats, that I still can't get a character that uses its primary stat for primary things? Get an amulet that changes my attack to dex. Huh. Can I get a subclass designed by a monk? Monk can't stack both damage and AC. Can that other guy do damage and AC? That magus class? Maybe we'll just look. Again, I want to actually see this fucking game. I'm not convinced I would have got through this on my own, chat. I think I might have gotten bored and uninstalled it. I like character creation, but I like decisions, not things I don't understand at all. Alright, so let's just assume that this is absolutely correct. Can anyone see any flaws at all in this? Maybe we just go down a couple over here and bring this up. I mean, it looks perfect. On is overkill. Really? So we're playing on a higher difficulty in a game where if my primary character dies, I lose the game. On a frontline tank class. And at the moment, I should be dumping Constitution. $14 is fine. Prolong encounters because I won't hit. Wait, is strength also hits? HP if I never get hit? That's true. But my effective HP goes way the fuck up if I don't get hit 90% of the time. And when I do get hit, I have some HP to survive that. Strength is my hit roll. Why can't you just directly impart the information to my brain? Eat strength. What am I losing right now? I'm losing AC off of not having wisdom and dex maxed, right? I take 1 strength, what do I get? +0. Amazing. It won't be my hit roll. I can take finesse at 1. Yeah, why do I want odd? You guys keep recommending odd wisdom and odd dex, right? And odds, I get no bonuses off odds, right? Why would I want that? I can understand as a dump why I go down for that, because the +1 resist roll or on whatever it is off like charisma maybe isn't worth it. Attributes as I level. 5 stat ups total. Is that equally expensive for all stat ups? Is it the same going from 19 to 20 as it is from 7 to 8 for those? So presumably I see. So when do I get them 1 every 4 levels? Okay. So taking my primary stat as high as it will go, or rather 219 means I get to hit it at 20 at level 4. What is my primary stat? I guess it's dex if I'm gonna be doing that finesse shit. So like that. How many of you would run like all of these to 8? We're gonna get 2 for wisdom, 1 for dex, 2 floating points. And we can probably leave strength entirely 0. This gives us +1. I don't know what roles. What roles in the game are gonna be defensive? Like what am I gonna need into charisma for defensively? Charisma is pure dump. Aren't there saving throws? It doesn't matter. Each might require more than 7 strength. I guess that's a good point. All right, so you're saying we're only tentatively messing with this? Charisma is not. No charisma saves. Oh, okay. All right, so something like this then. We get our 5 points, ends up 2 in wisdom, 1 in dex, 1 floating point that we don't really give a shit about, maybe. Carry capacity. Okay, we could dump that as well then. What are you saying? Like we could try with 2 points. Can we move anything up here? No. This is entirely useless. I don't think I can get 10 strength. 10 strength is quite expensive, right? Wisdom greater than dex? Aren't I going to be dex based in about 1 second when I take finesse? All right, let's float this for a second and move forward. Oh, I have to choose things over here too. We have -2 points over here. I can spend my -2 points to increase something. I think. Good enough? Okay. I just have to bring down 2 skills. So this is the minimums that I can have. -2 because of int. Wait. Okay, I guess I got. All right, let's read what the stats do in this game. Strength. We started to do this and I got sidetracked. Melee attack rolls. Athletic and strength checks. Damage rolls. Okay. Dex is ranged attacks, armor class, reflex saves, mobility, trickery, and stealth. On is Fortitude for poison disease, which we become immune to, right? That's it. That seems much worse than it is normally. Maybe I don't want 16 con. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. Yeah, well, con is also total HP. Con is only total HP looking at this. Int. Number of skill points gained each level. But wait, what? Oh, I see. The minimum is 1. What can you get it up to? I need that ratio. That means nothing to me without a ratio. How many and what skill points? Stat skill points or skill points on like actual skills? Depends on my class. Fuck me. Skill points to the right? Okay. So if I want a skill monkey, I need int. Doesn't that fuck bards? Wisdom here. Someone said this a second ago. Saving throws are what now? Wisdom, Dex, and what was the last one? Oh, let me see. Dex, Wiz, and yeah. Well, I want. Okay, we're gonna probably roll with this then, chat. Probably. Okay, two of these things over here. All right, I gotta read what these abilities do. And what did so I got to wisdom, still haven't got all the way down. Finish what charisma does. Use magic devices, influence others. Is use magic devices gonna include my ability to equip them, or just when they're like casting scrolls and wands and shit? Scrolls and wands and shit? Okay, perfect. All right, athletics. Skill represents a character's physical ability to do things as leaping, scaling walls, and swimming. We get athletics from our race. Right, for Azamar. Okay, so not very exciting here, I don't think. Where do I see that? So I have a +1 to athletics. Mobility. Balance, coordination, aerial. So this is athletics and acrobatics. Okay. Mobility. Move near opponents without provoking attacks of opportunity. Keep your balance. Escape from restraints. Break your falls and squeeze through tight spots. Good. Trickery represents a character's ability to perform. Okay. Stealth. Okay. Lore, perception. Get hunches. All right, and I have 2 points to assign here. Can I take 2 and 1? I can't. Can I only take 1 per chat? Rank is currently. So I'd take mobility and perception for this character, it seems like. And I hear some of you telling me I should take athletics instead of perception. That basically cover everyone's ideas here. Are we a rogue? And heart. All right. So where do I see my skill point gain per level right now? Be 2. How do you guys get to it will be 2? So if I were to like just drop this like 4 points and move this up, every 2 I get another one of these. But that ratio is dependent on being a monk. Correct? So int has some value for everybody then, because it actually determines your skill gain. So how relevant your skills gain across the course of a game. Oh, do we want to drop con to 14 then? Play with a bit more int. I think if I read that correctly, we can actually go to 12 int if we want. We could double, for 2 con, we can double the amount of skills that we get to play with. Floating numbers are awkward here. Can I even bring this to 13? Oh, I can. There's that floating point too. All right. Well, I need to read the feats too, because what we need to do is turn off the hide unavailable feats and then go look at skill check requirements for it. As I said, like this character creation is literally impossible until you played the game, right? Like you can't create a character until you played it. But the joy, half my joy in games like this is in character creation. Kind of a little cycle here. All right, so we have 1 in mobility, 1 in perception. Similarly, you guys want me to take 1 in athletics, and we would take 1 in one of these fucking useless things, trickery or stealth, I think. I'm not convinced I want to use stealth. Lore religion. Persuasion. We're not going to be very persuasive though, right? Or isn't our character like charisma dump? I mean, I could check out what how stealth works. See what the fuck it does. Alright, I'm gonna assume that's perfect, chat. Good talk. Like crane style. Black Darrow seems cool too. Dodge seems pretty good too. Let's start with dodge instead. Alright, but I want to see these other things. I participated in the Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous Kickstarter. No. Heard about our Lord and Savior? Alright, so that's our monk ability. Do these stack, chat? Alright, so we're looking at all the things we could possibly take if we were younger, had more time in this world. Begin with wings. Level 10. Ooh. 3 dodge bonus to AC. Okay. Weapon spec. Vital strike. My base attack bonus right now is 1, right? Order matters. It's alphabetical, dude. Rip. The one you guys were all big on. So how do I read this? It says prerequisites 13 intelligence, and then it's either combat expertise or kinetic warrior. Is that correct? Instead of punching them, I can prone them. I read that and it doesn't seem good to me, but maybe it will be. Power shield proficiency, tiring criticals. Endem trip. Get advantage on tripping if people have this. More summon spam. Sunder armor was the -1, right? No, it's something different. Power attack and strength 13. Never gonna have strength 13. I can probably just not read that. Have to be a dwarf, and we'd have to be hardy. I love the idea of being. Every time I look at a system, one of the first checks I do in that system is, can I build the Karsa? Karsa Oolong or something like that? I can't remember. I'm getting fucked up with Jorbs' name. Now, what's the Malazan Book of the Fallen, like, Knight of the Chain God, immune to magic dude? So fucking awesome. I would like to build him in a D&D campaign if I could. Sounds like it'd be really fun. That's the one I'm thinking of. The Orlong. Getting up from prone gives the attacks opportunity. That's new in this. That's different in this game. Prone is not that. How is the gameplay? Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't a gameplay stream. I could maybe recommend some of my favorite gameplay streams if you'd like. All right, staggering critical. When you store a critical hit, your opponent becomes staggered for 1d4 plus 1 rounds. I don't know what stagger does. Hard to ascertain. Spell specialization. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Not for our spell-less monk. Slashing Grace. Stab your enemies with your sword or... Wait, hold on. This talent gives me the ability to take my weapons and use them on people? This is incredible. Does every class need this? You can stab your enemies with your sword or another slashing weapon. Great, that's great news. I'm not going to take that because we don't have weapons. We only have fists. Presumably I'll need the ability to punch my opponents with my fists from one of these. Okay, more stuff that seems really cool, but it's probably not relevant to this build. Bunch of shield bashes. What is Shattered Defenses? Your skill with your chosen weapon leaves opponents unable to defend. It requires so many things I don't have. Dazzling Display, Weapon Focus, and Base Attack bonus 6. Active Channel. Seize the Moment. Combat Reflexes. Ally who has this feat confirms a critical hit against an opponent that you also threaten. You can make an attack of opportunity against the opponent. So are like some of the better builds, are any of these teamwork things ever useful? They seem super restrictive. Being adjacent in a combat system like this seems like it's not that easy to set up. Are they like really good though when they get going? And we're reading up. I expect weapon finesse is one of the things we want to take. Strong, okay. Pummeling Bully. We have to be monk level 5. Improved on arm strike, trip and pummeling style. And trip as a free action. Chat was pretty big on trip. Nice shot, power shot, point blank master, prana strike. Wielding a light weapon or any other weapon that could be used with weapon finesse, you can choose to take a -1 penalty on melee attack rolls and combat maneuver checks to gain a +2 bonus on all melee damage rolls. Outflank. Whenever you and an ally who also has this feat are flanking the same creature, your flanking bonus on attack rolls increases to +4. Okay. Natural spell. Missile shield, many shot, lightning. Okay, great weapon, hammer the gap, great weapons specialization. Yes. Weapon Raider Trip. Their armor, spell pen, spell focus, disarm, bull rush, blind fight, great cleave, Fury's fall. This Fury's fall. Prior's trip. Yeah, you can add. You can use strength and agility to send foes crashing to the ground. When making a trip attack, add your dex bonus to your CMB. Fencing Grace. It's your bombs. Wait, there's a feat. You can throw 4 additional bombs per day. So where are these ones at 13 ints unlocked? Presumably already unlocked. There's so many of these, chat. It's gonna be very difficult to get any fucking sense of this. I want that. I want that now. Wait, if a melee attack misses you by 4 or less, you lose this dodge bonus. Oh, it's temporary shit. That's. Maybe I don't want that. I don't know. There's too many to read here. Let's go through what we have here. Spell pen, spell focus, shielded caster. Rapid shot, meta magic. We can take meta magic as feat. 2-weapon fighting. We have 2 fists supply. Your penalties on attack rolls for fighting with 2 weapons are reduced. The penalty for your primary hand lessens by 2 and the offhand by 6. Unarmed strike is always considered light. This. Throw anything stealthy. Skill focus. Weapon proficiency, shield proficiency. Take it off. Pummeling style. Precise, is it, what's precise strike? Oh. The one you guys are talking about, right? Combat reflexes. You may make a number of additional attacks of opportunity per round equal to your dex bonus. Ah, that seems very important for a tank, huh? This essentially pins shit in place. You guys want something different? This seems like it's really good though. Go from having 1 attack of opportunity to many. Yeah, I understand this is something different you're talking about. It still sounds very good. But expertise. You can choose to take a -1 penalty on melee attack rolls and combat maneuver checks to give +1 to your bonus attack when your base attack bonus reaches +4. Every +4 after the penalty increases -1. This seems not actually good at all, chat. That just worse than dodge in every. Maybe we take this later because it stacks with dodge, presumably. Redirect feet. How do I? Okay, untrained point blank shot and get something useful. Wait. Oh, these are recommended. I don't have these. Yeah. Okay. You get +1 bonus on attack and damage rolls with ranged weapons up to 30 feet. Okay. With a light weapon, Elven Curved Blade, stock or rapier. It doesn't say that I can use fists here. Does weapon finesse apply this? Fist light weapon. But you said I can get an amulet early in the game that does this? Kind of agree. I want to see the game. I need to run out of time today. All right. Oh, finesse is only dex to hit. And the amulet is dex to damage. I assumed it was both. Wait. Do I still do, even with weapon finesse, I do damage based on strength, but my attack roll is based on dex? Fucking weird. Okay. All right.
Forwards! No, backwards. Backwards! We cannot be
They're very quiet, chat.
I shall not falter.
Cover me with grace. What's that glitter? The spell's not working. That's mean. What a find.
Kind of like none. Good. All right. All right. Your name. Sandals. I have to kick. I think we should be reasonable with our naming scheme. I expect by the time we get to like round 10. What do we call that? Iteration? Iteration 1? Is that better? First iteration? Second iteration? I think I want them numerically so they'll be alphabetical when we get to like Test Monk 0. That's good. I like that. That's much better. Taking that. All right. Grab an alignment. These matter. All right, I can only click these ones. Wait. Have to be one of these. I have to be lawful. All monks are lawful. Wait. All monks obey the law. Is just like how it works. Good characters protect innocent life. Evil characters debase or destroy it, whether for fun or profit. Lawful characters tell the truth, keep their word, respect authority, honor to... Jesus Christ. The good characters have one restriction, protect innocent life. Evil characters have one restriction, they debase or destroy life. And lawful characters have 28,000 things they do. Tell the truth, keep their word, respect authority, honor tradition, judge those who fall short of their duty. Alright, we'll go lawful neutral. Test monk number 1.0. Solid. Move forward. Alright, are we done choosing things? I think since 9, that's now 1 p.m. So we're like 4 hours into character creation. We've got one character done. And it's kind of our first iteration of the first character. Okay, now there's going to be a key moment. I'm not going to hit next here. That would just spoil the surprise of the moment. I'm going to go get lunch, come back in like 5 minutes and then hit next. But what do we think of this? Anything we need to change? I do not care about my character's appearance at all. And I certainly don't care about it on a test run. I'm going to leave this here. You guys are welcome to offer any criticism or thoughts you have about it. If you at me with them, I'll probably read them, although I don't promise it. Are we going for a monk is a very good starting question, yeah. Yes, there is an answer to that. No, I won't tell you. Good luck trying to figure that out from the character creation process. I'll be back in a few minutes. See you guys in a few.
Quitters never win.
I hope you enjoy the game, once you get going.
returned.
Sub notification from work hype.
Thank you, Tom, for the resub. Welcome back, man. Alright, let's see if I missed anything. Clandestine Wolf's resub, thank you. And on the permadeath difficulty? No. Rip, and then turn off lit experience. Okay. Alright, I think we're done. I have played this game for like an hour prior to this. Oh, is it not voice acted? It is just not the narrator. Goes none as a voice. You're joking. I have to choose a voice for my character to read this. Otherwise, what? We just intuit it? What background is people fucking chatting? All right. Let's try messing. I mean, the music volume is fine. Why would the voice volume be massively different? Look, I got the music volume turned down lowest, and that's audible. Yeah, I said turn off. Yeah, I have Invincible Kingdoms. The active companions receive experience. Alright. I saved it. It hasn't left with the save. Okay. I mean, I can hear this.
Greetings, everyone. I am Sword Lord Jamandi Aldori, and this is Lord Mayor Yosef Salimius of Restov. Welcome to my mansion.
Alright, probably need to turn that up slightly more.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for responding to our call. You may be few, but that's unavoidable. We need only the best of the best for this task. And I see true heroes before me, strong and fearless, exactly what Restov needs.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Now.
Sorry, I didn't realize I could do that mid-talk. I assumed I had to wait till out of that, but I will turn it up again for you guys right now. Alright, what do you think? Voice volume 112%, I imagine? Now, master volume affects everything, presumably. But the rest of it so far is loud enough. So...
To the point. South of here, just beyond Brevoy's border, lies a region known as the Stolen Lands. This is disputed territory, and while it's long been claimed by nearby states, it's never been truly taken. I won't bore you with the legal technicalities. Suffice to say that anyone with enough courage and power to seize the Stolen Lands and name themselves Baron or Baroness, claiming dominion, well, none of the neighboring states would be able to challenge it.
God, I don't have to read this.
Of course, Restov would be first.
I hope there's not a
recognize
quiz, though,
the
because I'm not
legitimacy
listening.
of this new state,
All right.
as well as the noble title of its founder.
Continue.
Unfortunately, one serious obstacle stands between you and this title. A gang of bandits holds sway in the Stolen Lands. Their chief, who they call the Stag Lord, considers himself the rightful owner of these lands, and no one has yet been able to challenge his power. Bring me his head, and you'll be able to return to the Stolen Lands as their legal ruler.
Don't ask stupid questions. Why should you even care? What they have to gain and why, that's for Lady Aldori and I to discuss. It's none of your concern. Your only concern is to swing your sword around or whatever it is you do.
Of course, we stand to benefit from this enterprise. But if you're concerned that we intend to rule your country from afar, using you as a front, Well, please note that these concerns are unfounded. Let's just say that we have a strong interest in the region's stability. We have need of a ruling power we can negotiate with.
What's the fix to this,
bandit
chat?
gangs and monster hordes.
Solasta does this to you as well. Force you to play tutorials that by the first or second time you play it are so beyond tedious that you want no part of it. And this also runs into a huge like pacing issue, right? We just spent 4 hours creating one character. Like, I now don't know if I can survive exposition as well. Like, I don't know what the answer to that is, because the tutorial is presumably for, I mean, you almost need a dungeon first. You need to wake up being rescued from a dungeon with a fight on the way out. That is not the tutorial. Like an optional tutorial, so you can turn that on or off. And you want to start with combat on your character.
What is that smell in the air? Is it the
Excellent. You venture forth tomorrow. For now, you can take some time to get to know one another better. Or you can head straight to your guest rooms to